What's up guys, my name is Fran, also known as Mr. F, and welcome back to my channel. This channel is all about camera gear, film, cinematography, making better YouTube videos, and everything in between. So if you're into that kind of content, consider hitting that subscribe button. Okay, so in today's video, I wanted to do a really quick review on this guy here. This is the Saramonic UwMIC15B. So I'm going to assume if you clicked on this video, you know exactly what you're looking for. But just in case you stumble across it by accident, let me tell you exactly what this system actually does. So this is actually a wireless XLR system. So it's very similar to a wireless lavalier system, except on the transmitter side of things, instead of having a transmitter with the little lavalier microphone attached to it, it actually comes with an XLR wireless transmitter. So basically you can use a guy like this, which is the actual XLR transmitter. If you take a look at the top, it actually does have the 3 XLR inputs, and it's also very similar to the one I'm using right here, but this one here is the Sennheiser G3-100. Spoiler alert, this one's better than this guy, but we'll get to that a little bit later in this really quick review. But yeah, what's the point in getting something like this? Why not just use an XLR cable? Well, I feel like there's a couple of uses for this device in particular. Number one, if you're at a trade show and you want to use a microphone like this one, this is a dynamic microphone. It has a really small pickup pattern, so as you can see, if I move away, it actually, it doesn't pick up a lot of background noise, and it's really good for noisy environments. If you want to use a handheld microphone like this and you don't want to go out and buy an entire wireless system, this is actually interchangeable, which is really cool. It also works in other situations like what I plan on using it for, and that's actually as a boom setup. So if you want to have your boom microphone always set up and ready to go, always ready to shoot that YouTube video as soon as you get home from work, like myself, when I'm trying to actually have set up, using something like this is really good. It's really beneficial. So you can have it plugged in at all times. You don't have to run any cables, have them lying all across the room. And then what you can do is as soon as you're ready to go ahead and start recording your videos, you go ahead and power this on, you power on the receiver package as well, and then you're good to go. Okay, so enough rambling about the actual use cases. Let's talk about the Saramonic system. So initially, when looking at something like the Sennheiser system, the Saramonic comes in at about 1/3. That's a fraction of the cost of something like the Sennheiser system. This unit here retails for about $299 by itself, and this entire Saramonic system actually retails for $199, and that includes the transmitter and the receiver. While this one, you still need a receiver, so that's going to be another $300 on top of that cost. So what are you actually getting for a fraction or that 1/3 of a cost? Well, you are getting a pretty decently constructed piece of hardware. It's a combination of plastic as well as metal. It does take 2 AA batteries, so right here down on the front, you simply pop in 2 AA batteries, and it's pretty simple. It has 4 buttons on the front, one for power, a plus, a minus, and a set. So obviously the power button turns the unit on. The plus and minus allow you to power through the menu functions, and then set actually allows you to select different functions. Now, there's not really much in the way of functionality when it comes to this thing. The very few options that you actually have is you can switch through the channels. Now, it only has 16 channels available to it, while the Sennheiser has a lot more, and I think that's a part of the reason why I don't actually like this system. Again, I know I said spoiler alert, but this thing is kind of crappy. But yeah, like I was saying, you actually get 16 channels available to you. You also do have volume adjustment, and then you also have some phantom power. So right here in the front of the actual transmitter system, you can see a plus 48 volt light, and when that's actually lit up, that means your device, if it demands it, will be getting phantom power. So that's also a pretty beneficial part of this, which I don't even think the Sennheiser system can do that. Now, the transmitter pack, this is the transmitter pack here. It's actually pretty cool as well. It has the exact same amount of buttons, has a power button, plus, minus, and set. One really cool thing about this transmitter pack that, again, the Sennheiser doesn't even have, but it does have a headphone jack. So this jack over here has 2 at the top. Actually, let me put this up to the actual camera. So it does have these 2 jacks at the top. This one right here is actually going to be for the 3.5mm cable to go to your camera, and this one actually here is a headphone jack. So if you're behind the camera or you're an audio guy and you just want to monitor what the audio is actually doing, you can go ahead and plug that in, and you can hear exactly what's happening on the other side of the microphone. Okay, so for the sake of trying to keep this short and sweet, even though this costs a fraction of the price of the Sennheiser system or even the Rodelink system, which is the other system I was ended up looking at, why did I decide to go with the Sennheiser system? Well, there is actually 2 reasons. Number one, even though the system is pretty cheap, one thing that I didn't like about it, and this might be a little bit of a pet peeve, but the actual transmitter pack, even though it has the locking mechanism that's right here in the back of the system, very similar to what the Sennheiser has, it doesn't actually actually lock in. So if you can tell, if I can get this thing to focus, you actually notice there is a lot of there's some breakage at the top. That's because this clip in the back isn't actually clipping onto microphones. So that's one of the big issues that I actually had with the transmitter pack. The other issue that I've had is the fact that it only has 16 channels. So I've kind of cycled through every single one of them. I do live in New York City. There might be a lot of disturbance here, but it seems like no matter what channel I go to, I get a really low megahertz hum. And to prove it to you guys, I'm gonna go ahead and switch to the transmitter pack, this system here, just so you can actually hear what it sounds like. Okay, so now I have switched to the Saramonic system. Now, as you can probably tell, there's a little bit of disturbance. There's definitely a drop in audio quality. And also when I speak, there's a little bit of a low frequency hum. It almost sounds like as soon as it starts sending any audio, the audio falls apart. There's also, I have cycled through all 16 of the channels that are available with the Saramonic system, and unfortunately, this is the best I'm able to get it to sound. Okay, so in conclusion, there's a reason why the Sennheiser UwMIC15B system or wireless system costs 3 times the amount of money, and that's because it has more available channels, it has better sound, has better transmission quality, and it runs on different spectrums, so it's able to transfer things. And it sounds a little bit more true to an actual XLR cable versus using something like a wireless system. So as far as this device, again, when I was looking online for a review on this thing, I could not find one anywhere. So I'd highly recommend or stay away from this unless maybe you live in the middle of nowhere with no other electronic devices, because I'm sure that it's not made this way. It just might be because of my environment with all, again, I live in New York City, I live next to a train station, there's a lot of disturbances. I'm sure that's probably why I'm having so much disturbance on this thing, but either way, I'd probably stay away from this, and I'd go ahead and spend the extra money on something like the Sennheiser system, or even go for the Rodelink system, which they also have one, which retails for about $499, that comes with a wireless XLR transmitter and a receiver package. But that's going to do it for me. That's going to wrap it up for this really quick review on the Saramonic UwMIC15B. If you guys have any questions or you want to know anything more about this system or anything filmography, cinematography, YouTube video content creation, anything in between, leave me a comment in the comment section below. Also, write down there if you like this kind of video, consider subscribing to the channel. Once again, guys, my name is Fran, also known as Mr. F. Thanks so much for checking out this video, and I'll see you guys in my next one.